It's March 3rd, 2025, and time for your Monday market update. Thanks for watching. Well, we've had kind of a rocky start to 2025. It's been a great year, but it's also been rough. We've seen interest rates going all over the place. They've been up, they've been down. They've been on a 4-week stretch of going down, and it's had a heck of an impact on our real estate market. But we are still headed for spring, and it is looking very bright right about now. Let's take a quick look at our Montgomery County numbers for the last 7 days. We had 120 new listings, 144 go under contract, 113 closed sales, 55 price changes, 4 expireds, and 56 on the currently on the private network. Now, that's the highest number we've had on the private network in quite a while. We are definitely heading for the peak of the spring market. Of course, historically speaking, we always see the most new listings coming in March and April. So it is go time, folks. And with interest rates coming down, it is really looking good for a very, very strong spring market. We've got the jobs report on Friday, so some important economic information coming out that will also affect interest rates. Right now, we've got the 30-year fixed rate at about 6.76. It was at 7.04 in January. So it's been coming down ever since January 16th. And it looks like it's going to continue to fall. And we could have the lowest rates that we've seen in quite a while in the next couple of weeks as we have jobless claims increasing, and the DOGE, of course, starting layoffs, which could affect our unemployment rates, which unfortunately leads to better interest rates. So when we've got a weaker stock market and we've got bad job reports and we've got, weaker economic information, that typically leads to a recession. That is all good news for mortgage rates, which is kind of like a mixed bag, right? Like it's like, I don't want to be happy about bad things happening to other people, but it does typically result in lower interest rates, which is good for our housing market. So especially going into this time of year. So we've got declining consumer sentiment as well. We've got last week a report that came out that consumers are just not feeling very positive about 2025. Lots of negative feelings, which affected rates coming down yet again. Now, on a flip side, let's talk about the housing market in Montgomery County. We have all of our February numbers that came out because, of course, the first week of the month, we always have last month being closed out. So looking at February, we had the average sales price in Crystal Lake is now $398,272. That's up 4.5% year over year, which is an average appreciation. So, we had 7% appreciation for a while in Crystal Lake, and we do still in some parts of our market, of our county. But, we've got lessening appreciation, which is good because when prices are going up 20% year over year, that's not going to be sustainable. In Cary, we have the average sales price is $382,000. That's up 12% year over year. So I think some of our numbers are a little skewed simply because we have a lot of month to month data that is slightly different. In Algonquin, we've got $414,000 is the average sales price. Now that's due to the fact that we have a lot of new builds in Algonquin. That is up 7% year over year. But again, new builds are more expensive. Therefore, sales are going to be higher. In Huntley, we've got $407,000 is the average sales price. That's up 10% year over year. Again, that's due to the new builds that are going up in that area. Supply is flat pretty much everywhere in our county. We've got more homes going under contract than we have newly listed for about the 3rd week in a row. So obviously we're not making a whole lot of headway in the supply department. However, March and April, we'll see more homes hitting the market. We will see more buyers come to the market as well, but hopefully we'll end up with a little bit more supply. As interest rates start to come down, we'll also see more people be incentivized to move, and more people who've maybe been waiting will finally decide that it's time. So we've got about 1.4 months supply in Crystal Lake. That's actually up 27% year over year. That just goes to show how low inventory has been. Of course, we measure inventory by how many months it's going to take to sell out of whatever is currently listed if nothing else gets listed. 4 to 6 months inventory is a fair and balanced market. Anything under 4 months inventory is a seller's market. Anything over 7 months inventory is a buyer's market. Now, in some parts of the country, we do have a buyer's market. I know in Florida, they're starting to rack up some inventory, and that's leading to a buyer's market there. I know in Arizona, they've been in a buyer's market pretty much all of 2025 so far. So different parts of the country are experiencing different things. So make sure whenever you're looking at real estate, make sure that you're looking at the local real estate market and local numbers, because nationwide, doesn't really matter. In Cary, we've got 1.1 months inventory. That is up 22% year over year. In Algonquin, we're at 1.3 months inventory. That's actually flat. And that's due to the new builds that are being built there. In Huntley, we've got 2 months supply. That is up 42% year over year. So even still, we're still in a seller's market. We're just not in as much of a seller's market as we were this time last year. And this year, we actually have lower interest rates than we had this time last year. So that's a good thing. So we're really looking like we're gonna have a strong market. Market time, let's talk about days on market. Now, with higher interest rates, we typically see more price cuts. Why? Because buyers' money isn't going as further, so they need to have a price reduction in order to be able to afford that house. We also have overpricing happening because a lot of people are thinking, oh, the market's doing so great. My neighbor's house sold for, $30,000 more than I thought it would. I'll price my house higher. Well, a lot of people are not looking at what the list price was that triggered the sale. And so if you list too high, your house is going to sit on the market and you might have to end up doing price reductions. And especially as interest rates go up, we just statistically see more price reductions when interest rates go up. So as interest rates are going down for the last 4 weeks, we might see less of those price reductions and more homes going under contract faster. So right now we have 32 days on market in Crystal Lake. That is actually down 6% year over year. 23 days on market in Cary. That's down 23% year over year. Algonquin is 33 days on market. That's down 6% year over year. And Huntley is at 37 days on market. That is up 15% year over year. We've got the number of sales. So just the number of transactions, things happening, is actually down 0.3% in Crystal Lake to only 778 homes in February. So for the whole city, we have 40,000 people in our town, and we only had 778 sales. That's low. Not a lot of sales happening. In Cary, much smaller town, but we only had 313 sales in February. That was down 12%. In Algonquin, 508. Now again, new builds. New builds make a big difference. We need more new builds in Cary and Crystal Lake because Algonquin and Huntley are just crushing it. Algonquin had 508 homes sale. That's up 20%. Huntley had 689 homes sell. That's up 33% year over year. So where there are new builds, we are going to have a better market. You're going to have more supply. That's just obvious. Now, here was some interesting information. I looked at interest rates and, they've been kind of doing this in January and February. So we're hoping that they're going to continue going down in March so that we can encourage our buyers and allow our buyers to get under contract. Because if interest rates come down, that's just going to make more buying power for you as a buyer. Now in Thursday, January 16th of this year, rates hit their peak for the year so far at 7.04%. They've been falling ever since. They're now at 6.76. The lowest we've seen in recently was September 19th, 2024, when rates were 6.09. That was last September. I remember it was before the feds were going to do their first rate cut for 2024. We were all super pumped about it. Lots of speculation about them cutting the rates. And when they did, inflation went up. So that's why the rates went down. Mortgage rates went down before the feds cut the prime rate, but then mortgage rates went up after they cut the prime rate because inflation ticked up. Now, before that, the lowest we saw was in March of 2022. Anybody remember that? You want to take a guess at what rates were then? 3.85. Ooh, remember the days? Those were the good old days. But those days are gone. We're never going to see that again. That was post-COVID. The highest rate we've had since that point was October 26th of 2023. This is why it's important to look at this when you're looking at comps. When did things sell? In October of 2023, we had the highest we had seen in decades, 7.79%. So if you're looking at something that sold in November or December of 23 as a comp, keep in mind, rates were the highest they had been in decades. So when you're looking at comparative sales and you're trying to price a home, you've got to keep in mind what were the rates doing 30 days before that house sold, because that is greatly going to impact what that house was able to get for the price. And if the rates were low, you probably got more for it than maybe you would have. And if the rates were high, you maybe got less. We're hoping that in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be awesome, you guys. Interest rates are hopefully going to keep going down. We're going to have more homes hitting the market. It is off to the races. Let's go. It's spring. Happy March. Thanks for watching.